Hello there, my name's Annette with Sunbeam Fabric Art. Welcome to my channel. I used over 100 fat quarters and made 12 bundles of half layer cakes and half jelly rolls. Last week I used this exact same fabric in the layer cake form to make a quilt. And today we're going to use the jelly roll bundle, which also includes skinnier strips that were not 2.5 inches wide. And I am going to go ahead and stitch together all the selvedges now before I move on to the next bundle. One thing to know when you're doing a jelly roll from a fat quarter, you are not going to have width of fabric. So my jelly roll strips are not 42 inches. When I cut my bundles, I cut 2 10-inch squares and 3 2.5-inch strips from each fat quarter. So I got the equivalent, using 21 fat quarters, I got the equivalent of 1 layer cake, 42 10-inch squares. However, I did not get the equivalent of a jelly roll because I would have needed 4 of these strips per fat quarter to get a jelly roll. So I've got about 3/4 of a jelly roll here to work with. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're using a jelly roll that's purchased that way, you may end up with more blocks than I did. I started sorting these light, dark, light, dark. I realized I had a lot of mid-tones, so I changed my mind about what I was going to make with this particular bundle. I did have a lot of darks. About a third to a quarter of these strips were dark. The rest were light or mid-tone. So what I decided to do was pair up 4 strips together, going light to dark with mid-tones in the middle. Some of the strip sets of 4 have 2 lights and 1 mid-tone and 1 dark. It's just however it looked to me at the time, and I did switch up a little bit to get them going from light to dark. I ran out of lights for the last 2 strip sets of 4, as you see there right on top. When I started stitching these strip sets together, you'll see later on, I stitched these along with the skinny strips thinking I wasn't going to use them because they didn't work out, but I came up a couple of blocks short, so I ended up using some of those strip sets that did not have a light. With all those strip sets now in order, light to darkest, I am going to put them right sides together and just start stitching strips together in a chain. When I got to the end of the regular strip sets, I used the 3 extra 2.5-inch strips that I had, and I started stitching those plus the skinny strips all together. I had a few little short cutoffs from when I trimmed up the fat quarters, and I stitched those together as well. Now I stitched all these selvedges together with an applique stitch. I'm not going to go into great detail about that because I actually have 2 selvage videos coming up shortly. And again, I'll talk in more detail about this in the upcoming videos, but this is a look at the applique stitch I'm using. When I got to the end of my chain, including those selvedges, I broke my chain and started stitching my strip sets of 4 together, making sure that my dark was going to be on the right and my light would be on the left of the set. Here is a look at what I've got. I've got this big sheet of selvedges all stitched together, and then I've got all my strip sets on the left there stitched together, and then I've got the shorter pieces as well that I kept stitching and stitching so I would have a piece of those all together. I don't have a plan yet for the little scraps and the selvedges. I'm going to just take the strip sets to the iron and get them all pressed nice and flat. Now the block that I'm doing does not require them to be pressed any certain way. You can just press them however you like. Next, I'm going to get out my cutting mat and my ruler and rotary cutter. I'm going to be trimming these strip sets, and what I'm going to do is make square blocks. It turned out, based on the size of my seams and the size of my strips, that I needed to trim these sets to 8 inches square. I set the 4-inch line on my ruler on the center seam line. Then I made sure I had enough room to get an 8-inch block, trimmed off the right and the top. I flipped the block around the opposite way, lined up my 8-inch on the left and the bottom, and trimmed the other 2 sides. Once I trim off the second 8-inch block, I'm going to have quite a big piece left over. So with that leftover piece, I did go ahead and trim all of those leftovers down to either 2.5, 3, or in some cases 3.5 inches wide by 8 inches tall. On most of these strip sets, I also had a pretty good size leftover piece of the dark and the light, and I did cut the seam off of those and put those in a pile to save for later as well. Now I could have just stopped right here and made the original quilt that I planned, and this is it. It's basically just turning the blocks so the darks, that dark strip on one side creates kind of a pinwheel effect. I do want to show you a couple of other options because I was thinking in my mind, what if I did this thing? And here is what I was thinking of. What if I put a bright triangle on one side of the block? What will I get? Here is a look at just one of the colorways that would happen if you did this type of block. You can turn these any which way and get all kinds of interesting patterns. Then I also thought, what if I put a white triangle on the opposite corner from the pink triangle? And again, I flipped them all different kinds of ways, but this was my favorite, and it made a pink and white diamond in between all those pinwheel blocks. I'll make sure and leave some notes about how long each part of this quilt took me because you might want to stop and not add any triangles. I decided I would go ahead and just add the pink triangle. And these extra cutoffs, I decided I am not going to use those in this quilt. I am going to set those aside with the selvage and with the other little scrap pieces and make a little bundle. And I'm thinking when I get done with all 12 bundles, I will take all the little scrap bits and make one thing. Here is the fabric I pulled from my stash to make triangles. First, I cut a bunch of 5-inch squares, and then I cut them in half diagonally to get the number of triangles that I needed. Now, again, I want to reiterate, there is no matching on this quilt because we're going to be turning these blocks. Every block we add is going to be turned a different way, so there's not going to be any matching. Well, let's get started sewing these triangles on. I've got 30 blocks and I've got 30 triangles ready to go. So I'm going to be placing those right sides together on my square. And I'm making extra sure that my triangle is on the exact same corner for every single block, otherwise this will not work. For eyeballing it, I'm making sure the straight edges are kind of in line with my seam lines, and I'm also making sure the beginning and the end of this triangle are overhanging the edge of the fabric at least 1/4 of an inch. I'll hold this up with the light behind it. You can see by the shadow, this definitely overhangs my 8-inch block. So I will be pressing all those flat and then I will trim off the excess. I want to give you one more look at how I'm looking at this. So I've got my triangle right sides together with that lower left corner where the dark is on the lower left. And I am making sure the left side of my triangle, that my left hand, I'm making sure that's kind of straight with that seam line. Plus, again, making sure I've got at least 1/4 inch overhang at the beginning and the end. Once I got all the triangles stitched on, I took those to the ironing board and pressed the triangles nice and flat. Now I'll be able to see exactly where to trim off the excess. Making sure my block is right side down, I can see that pink fabric overhanging, and all I need to do is trim that in line with my 8-inch block. Then I can just lift up that pink flap, use a straight ruler to trim off that triangle, and I will be saving those scrap triangles. All right, let's talk about this layout that I picked. I tried to make myself a diagram that had little triangles on it. That is way too hard to read. What I did next was create a diagram with the dark strip identified. And you can see it's a lot simpler to see what goes where. I've got pairs that are all going to go the same way. I've got a 6 across by 5 down layout. I make 5 rows of 6. And the second and the 4th row will be flipped the opposite way. Pretty easy. So I don't get mixed up, I'm going to chain piece all the pairs, sorting them out into 2 piles, matching my little diagram. Remember, I had those 2 8-inch blocks that did not have a light, and I made sure and put those together, and you'll see where I position them in the quilt. When you have a block that doesn't quite look like the rest of the blocks, if you put it on the outside somewhere and maybe off to a corner, it does not draw the eye to it like it would if it was right in the middle. I put my sticky note up so I would not forget what I'm doing here, and just started chain piecing all the pairs together. So I've got 30 blocks total. I'm going to have 15 pairs. And you'll be able to see that last pair here that does not have a light strip. Once I broke the chain, I started putting my rows together, 1 row at a time, and all the pairs are going to have the same orientation. When I'm making rows like this, I like to flip the tail end of the previous set around and add the next set. However, this 8-inch block size was just a little too short for me to finagle it underneath the needle like this. I didn't like the way that was working out, so I just cut the thread and then added that third pair to complete my row. It's a good idea before you move on from each row, take a look and make sure all your pairs are going the same way. With all the rows put together, it's time to finish up this quilt. I've got my layout drawn out here, so I know I need to put 2 rows together, but flip one of them the opposite way so it creates that pinwheel in the middle. I got my clips out. I want to make sure that the blocks are going to nest where they come together. So I'm going to nest those seams, having one seam going one way, one seam going the opposite way. And I'm also putting extra clips in just to keep everything straight and keep it from shifting around on me. I am going to continue stitching these rows together until all 5 of my rows are together. And remember to take a look after you put a couple of rows together. Make sure those pinwheels really are coming together for you. Once I had all my rows together, I went all the way around the outside of this quilt top with a stay stitch, and that is going to keep my little strip sets from coming apart until it can get to be quilted. Here is a look at this finished quilt top. I really like the way that pink triangle adds a little extra something to the pinwheel. This little baby quilt measures about 38 by 45. If you need it bigger, you could easily add a border to it, or if you just want to make more blocks, they would finish to 7.5 inches. So just calculate how many blocks you need to make the size you want. This would also make a great stash buster if you've got heavy fabric yardage in one colorway. You could just pick out some darks, mediums, and lights, slice them up into 2.5-inch strips, and go to town. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you back again real soon.